116 to 112, all to the winner by unanimous decision. Still undefeated, still the reigning heavyweight champion of the world from Ukraine, Oleksandr
There we are. I mean, a slight Ancelotti-like eyebrow raise with the margin of victory. It did seem that all those tight rounds went to Usyk. Yeah. But still, I don't think there was any doubt. I mean, we said we were messaging each other. We both felt it was the right call.
Yeah, everyone I know what I like to watch.
Yeah.
I know what I'm looking at, but everyone who knows about boxing in this building, said it was probably about right, and I was which I was quite surprised.
Well,
about.
let's get the thoughts of someone who was ringside working for talkSPORT, of course, Gareth A Davies. Hi, Gareth.
Good afternoon, gents. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Gareth.
Did you think? Would you have had it slightly tighter? Maybe an extra round for Tyson?
I had the first round as a draw. I couldn't separate them, but then I gave 6 rounds to Oleksandr Usyk and 5 rounds to Tyson Fury. So I had it 115, 114 to Oleksandr Usyk. The judges agreed on 7 of the rounds through the bout, and they disagreed on 5, which is why we got that split. I mean, 116, 112 means 3 of them saw it 8 rounds to 4. And 7 rounds to 5 is 1 round swing either side, 6 rounds, 6. A lot of people had it a draw. There were several swing rounds. It was a very, very close fight. Very close indeed.
Yeah. And close enough for us to want to see a third one. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe. I think when the dust settles, we may actually get a third fight because it feels that that maybe they haven't finished with each other yet, even though I've penned a piece today and I've talked about it, that the rapier sword that he brought out, the Cossack sword that Usyk brought out at great expense and at great length from Ukraine to present in the ring, the Cossack, the symbolic thing that he did as he kind of sliced his way through Tyson Fury in the fight, is that he belongs in the pantheon now, having got the 2 victories over Tyson Fury. He belongs in the pantheon, the top 10 heavyweights of all time, in my view. I put him down at about 7, between Mike Tyson at 6 and Evander Holyfield at 8. I think he's now usurped the position that Evander Holyfield had in my top 10.
Yeah, he was never rocked in the fight, was he? He always looked in control. He's such a supreme boxer. He never looked like losing.
His in-fight management, again, is always really good, Gareth. We were talking about it before the fight. He always he finds answers, doesn't he, to most problems.
Yeah, he does. He's a brilliant ring general. He worked his way through the fight. I mean, I gave 9 and 10 to Tyson, but I gave 11 and 12 to Usyk. He's such a brilliant finisher. But you could have given one of those rounds to Tyson as well, but he's such a brilliant finisher. He always finds a way. He had this method of wriggling out of Tyson Fury, trying to lean on him, throwing the punches. He got away. The punch stats favoured him as well. You can't always go on punch stats, but he's carried himself so well. Listen, Tyson Fury was vastly improved from the first fight as well, and did use his 20 stone, the 3.5 stone advantage, 25 kilo advantage. Tyson was, as I say, much improved and put in a brilliant performance. It felt at the end that they gave it all, but there was more to give.
Yeah.
It wasn't a dramatic fight this time. It was a scientific boxing test for each other. I really do feel that these guys should be in a trilogy.
Did you sense that that's what Tyson and Frank Warren want? Or, I mean, if 2 big fights, domestic fights, they've talked about Wembley and Riyadh, 2-fight deal for Fury to fight Anthony Joshua. What's the way to go based on what you've seen and what you expect to happen?
Well, given the result of the weekend in Riyadh, what we do need is Anthony Joshua, I think, to ignite a fight with Tyson Fury. We need him to get a win under his belt, and be that against Dillian White or someone else, because I don't think it works at the moment in terms of the gunpowder under the fight to light it, to just put AJ, who's been catastrophically beaten by Daniel Dubois, straight in with Tyson Fury. I think he needs a bit of momentum back. Fury's got momentum in a certain way from this fight because some people see it for him, some people don't. It was a very, very close affair. In my view, even though Oleksandr Usyk will probably wait for the winner of Joseph Parker and Daniel Dubois, obviously Daniel Dubois holds the IBF and Usyk holds the other three. He'll wait for the winner of that. We may get an undisputed. I think Anthony Joshua's got to get in there and fight in the meantime. But I've got a feeling if Tyson Fury, the way he was after the fight, it doesn't feel like he's done. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like I
suppose it depends if he wants to chase that title still, or if it's a money grab.
I think it's Usyk more than the title now.
Okay,
it's for the championship of each other now, rather than the belts, in my view.
He thought he won, but he said afterwards, I think I won both those fights. And I've now got 2 defeats on my record, and that's clearly bothering him, Gareth, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's he's a bad loser, and that's a champion's mentality, isn't it?
The fighting
man. Much closer than the first fight, in my view, much closer. Yeah. Even though that was a split decision. You know, it's weird boxing. The judging and scoring in boxing can really belie what you've witnessed, and most people out there aren't scoring it round by round. The dust will settle. It takes a few days for the dust to settle on these before people make a decision about how they're going to move forward.
Just want to ask you about, and we saw Moses de Talma, a pretty explosive form winning in the first. Now, the fight between Dave Allen and Johnny Fisher, they've both been on this show. They're both great talkers and good guys. And it was a fascinating fight, but a fight that I think most people felt Dave Allen had won. Johnny Fisher was in trouble.
A win for social media,
but showed an awful lot of grit to stay in that fight when he was really rocked. I mean, he was almost like not there for 2 or 3 rounds. I mean, we know he was
for 4 rounds.
He
won the first 4 rounds. He was nearly knocked out by 2 massive left hooks from Dave Allen in the 5th. And I thought Dave Allen won the fight for the next 5 rounds. Then should have got the decision. One of the judges got it right. The one for Dave Allen got it right, whether it was 96, 93 or 98, 95, whatever he gave it. But I think Dave Allen won that fight by 3 rounds. It was a travesty. Yeah. The judging that fight was a disgrace, frankly.
And the trouble is, Gareth, is that I think Dave Caldwell was making this point, the trainer and pundit, was saying that it doesn't do Dave Allen any good because he's lost a fight he should have won. And we were talking to you last week, there was a bit last chance saloon. Although in defeat, I think he's won a lot of friends. And it doesn't do Johnny any favours because it's not his fault. He's not the judge. He just puts in the performance and leaves it to them. So it was poor all round, wasn't it?
It was. They both handled it very well, though. They're both great gentlemen fighters. They may have to do it again. It was a really rough, tough fight. The way they sat with each other afterwards was brilliant as well. Talked it through. But yeah, it's an imperfect system and they got it wrong.
Well, Gareth, it was great work over there. Good to talk to you last week, and have a good Christmas. We'll catch up with you in the new year.
Thanks, gents. It's always a pleasure to be on with you. Thank you so much.
Gareth A Davies, they're part of our top team that brought you Fury Usyk and the undercard on Saturday.
Yeah, it was got huge numbers on the YouTube watch along as well, Paul.
That's right,
really
Spencer was telling us. Simon Jordan, you'll probably be able to see it on social media, feeling that Usyk is beatable. We wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Dubois could be the man to do it, a young, fresh fighter. I'm not sure, not at the moment. If you give Usyk 2 more years, it might be different when he's 39, and if he does slow, but he looks a great athlete as is.
Yeah,
but it was a little bit eggy when Daniel Dubois suddenly wandered into the ring. I think Usyk was like, "What's going on here?" He was a bit WWE. I thought he was going to hit him with a chair.
Yeah, my son who's 17 went cringe.
And I was like, felt a bit forced.
It did.
And then they had the sort of big wide shot of the ring afterwards, and the guys were chatting about it. Yeah. And Daniel was just sort of milling about the ring, and he was only about 2 or 3 people in, so he just sort of quietly got out at the side.
Possibly badly advised.
Yeah.
I doubt he went in on his own accord.
And he had a bit of a smile on his face, like even he wasn't
laughing about it.
He wasn't quite angry enough, really. Like he thought, this is a bit eggy, but I'll go through with it.
Go for it.
I'll give it a go. Anyway, we'll see what happens next.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.